Hello. Okay, today we're going to talk about IDEs, integrated in development environments. And there is basically one that's official. I'm briefly going to tell you about another one that's unofficial. Right, so the official IDE you will find here, YAB IDE, if you've installed it, of course. Haiku Depot, the usual. And Maui, that's a long time ago. And it remembers the thing I was working on last, but of course I can open more files, switch between them. And okay, I said way back in the beginning, you should be able to you should be able to write your code in a text editor and run it in a terminal. And I'll stick to that. You should be able to do that. But once you can do that, once you've got an idea of what's going on, you can use an IDE. Yeah. Because then you will be using that IDE. So if we look here, you've got a list of files that you're working on, and here's your code. Down here, this window will by default show you output. Now if you tell if you have code that says print ABCDE, then that'll appear there. Here you can enter immediate commands, right? Okay, this thing that I have in mind, does it work? Well, type it in there and see what happens. Right, and this is also where you have your find and replace. You can find something there. You can go to a specific line. Don't think you can view lines. No. Your line will appear down here. But okay. Right, and here's another place where you can put in your search term. And we click here. Oh, okay. Let's try. There we go. The one at the bottom seems to work better. Of course, it would help if I didn't make spelling errors. See, so it's got two places where you can enter your search term. Seems a bit unnecessary, but okay, fine. So, you got some settings. Right. That's interesting. Okay, so it looks like you can do a little HTML with this as well. You can make full screen, or you can just maximize it, sort of almost full screen. Right? You can reformat your code. Right, so let's do that and see what it looks like then. Okay, not very different, because I tend to indent my code nicely anyway. Okay, then here you can bind, or you can go to the build factory. Yeah, let's save it now. And so the build factory is accessible from within the IDE. Right, you can run it. But first open up a terminal. And that's useful because sometimes if you're struggling with a program, you just have print this, print that, print everything to see what these variables are doing. And that is then possible to see that if you open it up in a terminal. Right, and then you use your open files, close files, cut and paste. Right, here's some more tools. ASCII table, which only gives you the visible ASCII. It doesn't give you the line feed, carriage return, tab. You know, those are also part of ASCII, but they're not in this particular table. All right, a color selector. Let's see. Okay, and that gives you the red, green, and blue values, which is what YAB uses. You know, YAB doesn't use, you know, cyan, magenta color schemes. So you can create your colors, and then you can say insert color. That should then, okay, did it insert my color anywhere? I don't think I had a, okay, I'll try that again. There we go. It just inserted it. Of course, there's got to be more code, you know, describing what is supposed to have this color, but at least you can do that. That's interesting. I wish they had the same thing for the fonts. And a pattern editor. Now, pattern editor is something we haven't talked about because I don't really use it. But yeah, it's when you want a specific pattern to work with the foreground color and the high color, if I remember correctly. And so that, then you can have a little zigzag pattern going across your widget. Alright, you can set some run parameters both for YAB and for the program. Right, so if your program expects to see, you know, input, then this is where you put it to simulate that. Very nice. Right, open project folder and open backup folder. Okay, so that is basically our beloved IDE. Okay, I'm being sarcastic here because I wrote my own. And I've never heard that anybody else uses it. And so right now it's not really available as a H package unless you go to bshare. but it's available in a zip file. If you go search for it on SourceForge, you will find it. And my thing that I wrote basically for myself is called Yabba Dabba Doo. Hanna-Barbera's lawyers are probably sharpening their pens. Okay, the first thing it asks is, should I take this to workspace 4? And no, that's not necessary. I wrote this when screens were much smaller. Okay, let's start a new project. Right. And we're going to make a new folder, test 1, which will automatically become the name of the program, by the way, so choose it carefully. And it creates, no, I don't want the shortcut on the desktop. It creates the program for me. So in my IDE, what I was trying to do, I used to work in Quick Basic, still do sometimes, and I love that IDE because the subroutines were all separate with tiny little files. Now in the official IDE, if you're working there and you have a big program, then it becomes difficult to navigate. So mine is a prologue, a main loop, right, a data section that comes at the end, and these subroutines. And there are 3 that are written, and this empty project that I've just created will actually run. Okay, it doesn't actually do very much, but it's enough to get started. So I write all my programs in Yabba Dabba Doo. I just love working this way. I wrote it for myself, and nobody else seems to agree that this is the way to do it. But so you can generate a YAB file, and we can then, let's see, open Tracker, go to the binder directory, and there you have it. Right, and this again will run. Then I wrote run in terminal, same as in the IDE, and run and display output. So it runs, and then when it's done, it shows, well, this shows no errors, so that's fine, but otherwise it might say error on line 169, and then it'll show line 169 somewhere in the middle here. So you can go and then I've got some more utilities. I've got the YAB Assistant, which it's probably a bit dated by now. I haven't worked on this for a while, but yeah, you can. Okay, let's YAB extensions only. Let's see what button does. Back to all commands, or all commands starting with N. You get the idea. And since I often have to shell out to bash, I've also got, let's see, something starting with D, disk link. Go with that, and then it shows you the help contents of the disk link command. When you want to get rid of those, okay, this YAB interface builder was something that I never got around to building, but I'm thinking about it again. Actually, I've got different ideas. Right, system preferences. Okay, you get the idea. So if you want to play around with it and see the different way of working with YAB, then feel free. Just write yabba dabba doo on SourceForge and you'll find it. It's available, I think, 64-bit only, sorry. There might be old 32 bits on versions on bshare. So we've had a look at 2 IDEs that are available, and so from now on I think we can start looking at code within the official IDE rather than in PE or Coder. We'll mix it up a bit. Thanks for watching.